Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It is Palestine here. I wanted to make another video for you, but before I make another video, I don't know if you noticed that I got my hair cut. It cost me about 25 pounds for 5 to 10 minutes worth of work, and all he did was just cut 2 inches off the length and nothing else, and I paid 25 pounds for that. That's just how expensive everything is in the town I live in and the UK. But I had to get my hair cut because it was long and I didn't feel good for it long. And I know that the guy that cut my hair, he asked me, he said, when was the last time you had your hair cut? And I said, oh, 6 months. I said, maybe 5. So I guess there were a lot of split ends and dead ends and things on it. But my hair doesn't grow very well. It hasn't grown very well for years, but I think that it especially isn't growing very well because I'm on aromatase inhibitors, and that means I don't have any estrogen in my body. So that makes my hair very thin. But fortunately, I have female pattern baldness, so you can't really see it. You just, if you knew my hair, you would know that it's really thin. But what I wanted to talk about, because I've got lots of cancer related subjects that I can't talk about, but what I wanted to talk about was in my last video. If you watched my last video, it was I was talking about this person I know that had a second occurrence of cancer, and it wasn't a recurrence because it was on the other breast, and since it was on the other breast, it was a second occurrence, initial occurrence. So she's had cancer twice. She had cancer the first time in one breast where it was DCIS, that's ductal cancer in situ, and the only thing that they did was they took out the tumor, but they didn't take out any lymph nodes, and they gave her radiation, but they didn't tell her to take aromatase inhibitors or tamoxifen or anastrozole. They just sent her on her merry way. And I think something like 7 years later, she got another instance of cancer on the other breast. So I looked it up on the internet, and that said that basically it is a second occurrence. It's not a recurrence, it's a second occurrence. And this cancer was worse because it was DCIS and IDC. And so the one thing that they said was that it was a very slow growing cancer, but it had made it to the lymph nodes. And that's what her daughter told me. She said that she didn't understand it. If it was a slow growing cancer, how come it made it to the lymph nodes? So it wasn't that slow a growing cancer. But I think what it is these cancer cells can break off and move from the bloodstream or wherever into the lymph nodes. So when she had the second surgery for cancer, they took out the tumor, and then they also took out all of the lymph nodes. So that's not very good. In my situation, they only took out 4 lymph nodes, but in this lady's situation, they took out all of the lymph nodes. And so that's going to open up a lot more problems as well, because when they've taken out all of the lymph nodes, she could get lymphedema. Because I do know somebody from the church that I go to that she had breast cancer that had gone into the lymph nodes, and they took out all of her lymph nodes, and now she has lymphedema because all of her lymph nodes have been removed. So it's quite dangerous when they move all of the lymph nodes because it opens you up to other health problems such as lymphedema. But this woman, she was smoking when she got cancer the first time, and the doctor didn't tell her to stop smoking. And so since the doctor didn't tell her to stop smoking, she got cancer a second time. Because I didn't know this, but smoking can actually cause breast cancer. So she wasn't advised to stop smoking, so she didn't stop smoking. So she got cancer a second time. And basically another thing that happened that kind of like prompted me to want to make this video was that before it was identified that this woman had a second occurrence of breast cancer, that she wasn't going into work because she said she was really tired. Well, I looked it up on Google, and Google said that fatigue is a symptom of breast cancer. So maybe because she couldn't go into work because she was so tired, maybe that was a symptom of the breast cancer, that she couldn't do it. My situation is I don't have the luxury of not going into work. I don't have anybody taking care of me and paying my bills, so I have to go into work if I'm tired or not. You know, like every morning I think, oh, I just want to stay in bed, but I have to make myself get out of bed because nobody's going to pay my bills. Nobody's going to look after me. And then the thing is that in addition to that, she's had people looking after her. She was living with her mother. Her mother couldn't look after her, but her two daughters are looking after her and taking care of her. So she was fortunate that she had people to look after her when she's sick with cancer, because I don't have anybody to look after me. I just have to carry on. I mean, whenever I had my operation on a Tuesday, my boyfriend asked me, was I going to go to the handout? And I said, no, I can't go to the handout. I've just had an operation. I had to carry on with life. And then so the following Thursday, that was 2 days later, I went to the handout 2 days later, you know, and then I went to the depression expression support group on the Friday, because I don't have the luxury of being able to sit at home and say, oh, I've got cancer, I need people to look after me. Nobody's going to look after me. I have to keep going. And then so when I had the second operation, I think I did actually go to the handout the day after the operation. And because I don't have anybody to look after me, and it wouldn't go over very well. I know it wouldn't. People say there was this one instance when this woman said that my boyfriend seemed like a perfectly nice person and that he wouldn't leave me if I had cancer and stuff like that. Well, I've never tested him. I've never put him to the test. I've never made him choose to take care of me. I take care of him. Even when I've got cancer, I take care of him. So he's never been put to the test as to whether he would stay with me if I had cancer, because I had to keep going. You know, even though I had cancer, had 2 operations, had radiotherapy, I had to keep going. You know, he went with me to my appointments, but I couldn't lay in bed and say, oh, poor me, I've got cancer. I couldn't do that. I had to get up and do it. So this woman that I know that's got cancer, she's in a much better position than I am, because she's got 2 daughters who are willing to look after her and take care of her, which I don't have that. I don't have anybody. But that was what I wanted to talk about in this video, was fatigue. I know I talked about several things, but the question that I asked was, is fatigue a symptom of breast cancer? And yes, fatigue is a symptom of breast cancer, because this woman couldn't go to work and they never got to the bottom of it. They never got to the bottom of why she had fatigue. Well, maybe it was the breast cancer. Who knows? So that concludes this video. We've asked the question and we've answered it. I looked on Google to find the answer because I'm not medically trained. So if you like my video, please like and subscribe. And I will be making another cancer-related video for you very soon.